Right. We've got some games that I unearthed from an old box back in, so these are back in high school and college, or rather the gap year right before college. So we have Evelyn Moncayo, women international master in Costa Rica. She threw everything in the kitchen sink at me basically in a Stonewall Dutch. I've seen Magnus Carlsen play this as well. It's pretty aggressive opening. So let's check it out in the discussion with international adult class. So you guys let me know what you think about this opening. So she starts with a Slav, basically called semi-Slav, right? And then she plays F5 afterwards. So she's not going in some of these made lines of D4, F5 on move one. So it's kind of like a transposition thing, right? Okay, so I'm playing really modestly, right? It turns out that I don't think I knew the line very well, but it turns out if you look at the stats, just playing modestly is actually a pretty good way to go. A lot of times people feel on Keto, but let's see what are the options here. So yeah, funny enough, like E3 is the main move. I don't think I knew that. I was just playing solidly. I mean, I've seen this. No, you know what? Against a Slav in general, but rather against a Stonewall. Let's say she does it, for example, earlier. I don't know. This is probably not the right move order. But let's just say this happens and transpose. So a lot of people play G3, and this actually scores really well too. Well, one of the things about this is that you don't give her that diagonal against your king so easily. As you see in our game, she does put pressure there. So they don't even have that. I don't know. Computer says tad better for white. Anyhow, this is yeah. So I've seen Magnus, just referring to Magnus as I mentioned at F5. I've seen him do that with in a Stonewall defense. If white does it, it's a Stonewall attack, right? Same structure, it's Stonewall attack. Just like a London is bishop F4, D4, C3. That's a London. If you play with black, it's a Slav. It's a Slav with bishop F4. So it's actually London is kind of a Slav reversed, if you think about it. Anyway, so this is something I've also seen Magnus do against the Slav. So maybe I was thinking of that. I don't know. Maybe it was before I saw much of it. Knight F6, castles, bishop D6. Okay, so you can see that she has some pressure. Now let's think about what the plans are here. General plans. Well, first of all, we need to assess the position. So what's the main problem for black's position and the main strength in black's position? Let's start with that. What do you guys think?
The
Okay.
main,
And
the main strength would be black's control over E4, since it has three pieces watching or covering it. The bishop is pretty well placed, covering the B8 to H2 diagonal.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are the
Yeah, for sure.
best things I see.
Right. And anytime you're playing F5, definitely grabbing E4, just like a bird grabbing E5. And also, well, you could lift a rook sometimes too. Or as you see, she's going to play F4. So she can use that as well. But definitely just grabbing E4. And you don't really want to take it usually because the pawn takes back. But the drawback, Daniel, were you saying something also? And then think about what the
yeah,
drawback is for what
I
for black.
think I pre- I prefer white position because black right now is in a kind of trouble because it will take a while for black to develop the bishop. The bishop on
Ah,
C8.
yes,
That
definitely. So just like a Slav, just like a regular Slav here. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So and knight maneuver will not be easy. That's the knight on B8. The maneuver to develop the knight won't be easy. So I think white has the chances and time to develop and be ready for whatever comes next in the game.
Right. And white has that solidity in terms of white's benefits. I mean, so as you see, black is definitely going for light square control. That's pretty much their game here, right? Light square control and the aggression of having F5, right? That aggression of aiming toward the king side. And like I said, being able to do a rook lift. Hey, who knows? Maybe sometimes you do get G5, G4, actually. You do get that sometimes. Um, and I agree. The bishop, just like in Slav, that's going to be a problem to get out. Now, keep in mind though, black has already committed more weaknesses, like E6 is weaker, right? Now, if they want to bring the bishop out to A6 or B7, they're going to have to push the B pawn, which weakens C6, see, and A6. And they do have to do that. But you're gonna, that looks like kind of amateurish, right? Like you see amateurish numbers that you go,
Yeah, yeah,
right. It feels amateurish in a way, but they're taking on those weaknesses, they're taking some risks. But keep that in mind. So white is naturally grabbing those dark squares, just as black, black has a d5 pawn, that's their game on the light squares, and white, well, the reverse is playing a dark square game, right? And also you have the Queen's Gambit. So with the Queen's Gambit, we're applying pressure on d5. Now that's also important. I mean, some of you guys, I think we've spoken about this, where if black wants to push to e5, let's say they even get that in, if they try to, then you have pressure on d5. That's often why you don't want to bypass. The moment you bypass and they tuck it back here to c7, the bishop c7, then you get the knight supporting, and then Daniel, you're going to have the bishop breathing fire, coming, rearing its head, and then it's coming out, right? So you don't want e5 to be seen. Then that's the strength for white. The weakness for black is, well, as you said, the light square problem is that the bishop's blocked, but also because they've stuck so many pawns on light squares, they're seeing the particular weakness of e5. But again, the trade-off is they grab e4, right? So it's
yeah.
just a mixed bag there. But as you said, you prefer white. It's the computer does too, saying like 0.6. Doesn't mean white's like clearly better, but it's just a little easier to play with white, right?
Yeah, it's easier to play with white.
What's that?
I say, yeah, it's easier to play with white. Something like a3, b4, like just push those pawns, create a space in the queen side, and launch a good attack.
Yeah, you can. Now, interestingly, b3. So b3 is the main move. And that's right. But yeah, I don't think I knew it. I was just playing because I shifted to d4 from c4. Someone suggested I do that. The coach I was working with, and it worked out pretty well for me. But I didn't know all those lines yet since I was newer to it. But I think I just played pretty much common sense. And also, if she's going to take, I could take back with the b pawn and take more center. Yeah, so a3. Am I seeing a3? Let's take a look down here at the different moves. I'm not seeing a3. Yeah, no one did it yet. They might do it later. But I did actually the most common move, which is b3. Just solid, and bishop b2 can come. But bishop b2, that's its common theme. You could even double fianchetto. But bishop b2 is going to, again, increase our control over that weak square of e5. So bishop, pawn, and knight. Queen e7, bishop b2, she castles, so very straightforward. And then I go, now I probably play a slight inaccuracy. Interestingly, the main move is queen c1, which is understandable. It's a plan. And that's funny enough, that's, as you can see, black is starting to do a little better in some. Now that, I guess this is the theory, and that's the one that scores really well for it. Why do you guys think queen c1 is supposed to be a good move?
Yeah, if queen c1 is being played, knight e5 won't be having an issue, because if bishop captures on c5, there is a threat of bishop a3.
Right. So you'd be grabbing those dark squares. So hypothetically, let's say they were to take,
Yeah,
and then the
that's fair.
bishop would go. The bishop would now go. Oh, I mean, I guess they could play c5, but they're going to be under a lot of pressure. And then you can put pressure here. But yeah, even if you don't go there, you can also do it now. And if you think about trading off the bishops, then you're going to get rid of their good bishop and saddle them with just a bad bishop against your good bishop. So this is a very positional play, queen c1. Let's see what people do. I think I put it out there a few moves in my analysis. So b6 is the main line. Bishop a3, bishop e7, bishop takes, queen takes. This has only been played 11 times, but they actually go for this trade. And it's very drawish. White won like once and drew the rest, but I don't know. So it's not really committed. The computer still says plus 0.4, plus 0.5. It's just a positional way to play, and white will try to outplay here, but it is close, as you can see. Of course, you don't have to trade queens, but maybe they're thinking, okay, well, black is going for a kingside attack, so I'm going to kill the kingside attack, going to have a little positional advantage, and it's like, okay, I'll take a slight edge. But of course, you could go for more. All right, so I just again, I'm playing natural moves, just develop my knight. Knight b7, rook c1, but I am blocking my bishop. So rook c1. She comes in. And again, I don't want to take it. That's just got to be good for her. Because I
I
don't
thought
really want to come in. That's not good, right?
Yeah, no, but somehow I think you taking it should have been better than playing knight e5.
You're saying don't take play 95?
If you take knight x e4, yeah,
Yeah.
the knight e5, yeah, then you are going to sacrifice a pawn, but you have a good position where you play f4. Then if en passant, you still have a good position. Like
Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. I mean, I don't think it's necessary though. You could do it, but you don't need to, right? You go in F4, you lock it down. I mean, definitely you have to be a little careful though on the king side because
yeah,
it's like a French situation, like a reversed French. They've kicked your knight away. And also, well, let's say they take bishop somewhere, say bishop here.
yeah, let's
I don't
keep
know.
it
Let's see
down.
what the computer eval is. Computer says even. Yeah, just say like F4, like you said.
Yeah,
This is exactly what you're talking about, yeah. But as you can see, you have to worry about your E5 pawn too. A little bit, you got to cover that. So you're
it's
not getting a ton out of it, right? Does that make sense?
yeah, sure.
Maybe equalize. Again, they still have the bad bishop, but we kind of have a bad bishop too. So we could get more. We could probably get even more. But basically, here's the thing. We could do some of the things you're talking about, but we don't even need to take the knight. That's probably why maybe they would trade the bishop first or go like knight bd2. Is Matt leaving? All right, Matt. Thanks for stopping by. At least you got something. Well, I'll record it. I'm recording it, so you can check out more if you want.
Take care, Matt.
See ya. Good seeing you.
Take care. See you guys.
All right. A good one. Yeah, so I actually go away from it. And then that's where she pushes. But interestingly, you can see the eval going up for me here. I mean, it's a very natural move. She's setting up some attack, but I don't know. I guess it's just you. The thing is, she's giving up her grip on e4, right? She's giving, and that's really going to be critical. So I want you guys to find, as we spoke about, kind of how I got away from that pressure. So I want you guys to find some of this. So actually take it. Just chop off that pawn. Let the bishop look at my rook. Okay, I just move it up, no problem. No, nothing drastic. Okay, now she's aiming at h2. But funny enough, I don't know, the eval keeps increasing for white. I just look at the knight. It says simply g3 says just chase the bishop away and then come in. Oh, interesting. That's similar to your idea, Daniel. Maybe it's a better
Yeah,
version
yeah.
of the bishop.
Push
Maybe
back
it's a better
your
version. Kick everything
F4.
out. What's that?
Why not? Why not f4 then bishop d3?
F4, bishop d3.
Yeah, f4 first instead of f3.
Maybe you could do both. You could go f3, kick them out, and then f4. You're saying f4 now,
Yeah, f4.
and
Then
then just go
he
after
makes
the knight. Just start
he
chasing
makes
the knight.
yeah.
You could probably do that too, yeah. F4 should probably wrap around. Even if you maybe take the queen could take on d5. I don't know. But yeah, that's definitely possible too. The only thing is, I would say just consider that given that she has the weakness on e5, we don't want to also give her the weakness on e4 if we can avoid it. You see what I mean? We're going to challenge it. But that's why I play f3. So having the white pieces, given that we're playing kind of modestly, we have the ability to play f3. Does that make sense? But she doesn't have the
Yeah,
ability to play f6. So you see, that's kind of my game right there. A lot of my game revolves around that. So, but you could do that too. But see, this is an example, right? I haven't even moved my f pawn, but I'm doing exactly what you did, right? Again, yeah, that was just the computer line of g3, but I didn't do that. And I'm still doing what you're talking about of dislodging the knight. Now she comes over.
yeah.
So it's funny, like all these moves, they seem good for her, but the computer just doesn't like it, doesn't like this position for some reason, because she could have broken in the center, I guess. But so she goes here, then naturally now I come in. But now, I mean, well, she can't even take, she'll get forked, right?
Yeah, get fucked.
Yeah. But so what's going on is you see she's like mobilizing her pieces. She's marshaling them over to the king side. But to what end? Because the knight's supporting the other knight. It's gonna get kicked anyway. And you see that's why the evaluation keeps increasing. So it's like it looks good, it's artificially good, but there's no mate attack here. There's no mating attack yet. So it's going to run out of steam. And the thing is, I have resources. So the computer suggested, let's see this one. It says kick it back. What is going on? It wants to like, okay, open it up and sack it. Now take it. I don't know. That's not really related, but basically it's trying to, as you can see, she's going to get a lot of counterplay. Computer
not,
likes it.
I think.
What do you think?
Okay. So
Oh, what do you think, Daniel?
yeah, I wanted to say something on the other move. Well, cool.
On the move of this one, IDF6?
No, not this one. The
You're
one you
saying
just
you're saying
checked.
inside, you're saying in this line?
Yeah, not this line.
Yeah.
The
Wait, you're
You
saying
want
the
to move?
main, you're saying the main line, or like you're saying not within this line? Yeah, but basically this is point is that's how she can get counterplay. She could have done that.
Yeah.
It's really messy, but if she doesn't, but this was just this way I could kick the knight out. So you're not talking about this line? You're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
you're talking about in here?
yeah,
This one here?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and as you can see, so I'm getting some of the things that you're talking about, like some of these things. So clearly the battle is revolving around the e5 and e4 squares. I mean, she lays claim to that e4 square or attempts to with f5, right? So the battle begins the moment she plays f5. We have that clear idea. So one, we're playing for e5 for us. We don't want her to have e4 too effectively. And three, we have our just solidity. When you see your opponent's weak, your solidity should be your benefit, right? That solidity there. And also, obviously, there's C-file action going on because we have Queen's Gambit structure, right? But now you're going to see, though, once this situation is resolved in the center, suddenly now, see, the computer says almost +2, but that's not like, it's not obvious yet. But once we resolve these problems, you're going to see why that's the case. So I want you guys to figure that out here. So bishop d7. I mean, that's probably the part of the game that was the key that allowed me to gain the real advantage, not just some nominal computer advantage, but actually like we can see palpable advantage positionally. Okay, so she does this. Okay, so now how are we dealing with the e-file? What are we gonna do here? What's the plan? The knight looks kind of funny, but it might actually come into c5. So maybe I think that was probably my idea with knight c3. So I'm able to carry this out. Okay, so what are we doing on the e-file?
Right, they're outside there.
No, you see something there? Or Leia, what do you guys think? What would you do on the, if it were you
No,
here,
sorry.
what would you do? Oh, it's all good. What would you do on the e-file? Because that's pretty much where the play is, right? Like I said, c-file too, but more imminent is e-file play. So think about what you guys would do.
It's one of the things right now I'm thinking is put a rook on the e-file, or
Yeah, I
even
think
maybe the
white cannot
queen.
play.
All right, let me mute it for a second. Okay, go ahead. You put the rook on the e-file or what?
Or even the queen, but maybe not the queen. Like if I put the queen on the e-file, it'd be queen e2 just to stay covering g4 and h5. Like I'm a little hesitant about putting the rook on e1 because of the like how actually it might like because of f2 being a little bit more vulnerable, but I just noticed that we have a rook on c2, so I think it's
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly. That's that's
One.
probably why I didn't mind taking. First of all, I get rid of her well, yeah, it had a few. You know what? I think what happened is I think her error was this move. As you see the computer again, just to use the computer eval, but it goes from 0.2 to 0.8 for me. So the error is, I mean, again, I think you probably with black want to actually be doing the riskier g5, g4. It's principle though, right? Because it is grabbing more light squares. It's kicking the knight away before it maybe commits to e5. So it certainly has its benefits. G5, G4. A guy did that. FM did that against me once. I ended up getting a draw, but he had a pretty good attack. I ended up getting my knights in here though. I had a knight. I like wrapped my knights around, and I got them in here and here at F45 because he gave up the F4 square, and I was able to deal with it. It didn't really create a huge attack, so he ended up just boiling. I tried to press a bit, but it just boiled down. Nothing happened. But you know, you get that square control for sure. Now when she goes F4, there are a few things. Well, first of all, again, you're going to get rid of that pawn. Secondly, when you take, it opens up the half open e file against her weakness. So that's really the main problem here. Oh, and three, it diminishes control of e4, which means we can more easily dislodge the knight. So you can see that was it looks good. I get why she did it, but I think that's the thing that allowed me to get the edge. So rook c, and also knowing that rook c2 is going to have to be played, but it's fine because you have one, you have lateral defense, and two, you can double, right? That's pretty good. Okay, queen d6. Bishop, then I shift bishop d3. Was it what? It wants g3 again. I mean, I'm reluctant. I'm like, if I don't need to play g3, I'm not going to play g3 yet. You know, I'm not going to touch my kingside pawns if I don't need to yet. Okay, so knight df6. Then I come in. Because now I'm, well, again, it can't happen. Taking is not possible because you win the knight. But even so, I'm pretty happy to get rid of that good bishop and saddle my opponent with the bad bishop, as we've talked about before, right? And then now I go for f3. And again, the computer may not approve of all the moves. Who cares, right? Wants you to play g3. I played f3, but I mean, I thought it made sense. Oh, because it gives her the check. But still, I mean, we're gonna chase away the rook. We're gonna put pressure on the e file, and we're kicking the knight away. So to me, it seems like pretty sensible. You can always look at the computer lines and see if you agree or not. But it turned out okay, and I think it was sensible. But it's so weird. It's like it keeps liking it for white. Like, what's wrong with bishop check? Right? I guess the king wants to get out of the way anyhow. But the thing is, the bishop will be vulnerable. You're going to see. I mean, that's the game right here. White's game is the e file, right? You got the knight on e5. You've got the weak e6 pawn, which is holding off the bishop on d7. You've got the knight on e4, which is getting kicked, and you got the bishop, which is getting kicked. So all in all, this should really provide it, lead to a positional advantage for white. So now she does b5. And again, this is this is weakening c5. So I play c5 myself, and computer doesn't love that either. Just says take it and come through on the c file, makes sense. Then you have e file and c file. You know what I was probably thinking, if I recall? I think I was like, look, I want to get a squeeze, sure. And they don't have e5 as we talked about as a counter, but also I don't want to see a rook trade because I already sense that I think I have an advantage on the king side now. I'm shifting to the e file, maybe an f4 later. But since I have pressure on the e file, I'm going to commit. That's my plan to double. So why should I open up a file that I'm going to abandon? It just doesn't. It's not logical, right? That's why I probably did that. So c5, and you do gain space. But like I said earlier, I mentioned you shouldn't bypass, not at the beginning, because then you're just giving your opponent free reign here to break. But like that's what we've done. She's played f5. We've got a pawn and bishop backing it up. We're gonna maybe f4 if we need it. So yeah, she's probably not going to achieve e5. But if I thought she were going to, see, that's why she should have done it earlier. She had one moment, and that would have maybe equalized or given her a lot of counterplay. All right, Leia. Oh, she left. Take care. Let's see, she had to take off. All right, so c5, queen e7. At least we got into the thick of it, right? At least we got into the planning, the middle game. So knight c3. Now, interestingly, well, that's the thing. I'm gonna have to trade the knight for the knight. If I go take knight c5, this knight is okay. So it's not going to have to go, oh, that's another problem. If it has to go to g5, then the bishop really gets awkward on e3. But it doesn't have to. That's, oh, you know what? That's why she did b5 probably, if I'm going to guess. Because now she has to move her knight from e4, right? But she doesn't have to waste time. She just trades. Then the bishop moves. Queen e1. I'm not sure why I went queen e1 and not rook e1. I don't know. Just trying to figure it out. Maybe like you were talking about, Malcolm, maybe I wanted to keep coverage with my rook on f1. And I think I might want to play f4 actually. Because look, if we have enough coverage on e4, we can eventually do this or something and play f4. That's what I did later.
I was gonna ask when you played knight c3 after b5 after to move the knight to safety, did you consider just taking the knight on e4 of your pawn and just have allow black to capture your knight and to double up their pawns?
I think I looked at it, but I didn't like it because okay, so effectively when you take, well, it's basically giving up your f pawn, which is controlling e4. So it's all about the e4 control. Say I take, and well, she could even grab this one, but let's say she takes, Now the pawn is basically hanging. Now, if
Mhm.
I take her, she takes back and opens up the bishop. So I don't think it benefits me to take on e4. Well, it's like, okay, are you going to take with the pawn or the knight? I'm not winning the piece anyway. And oh, think about it. This is also my bad knight. That's my worst piece, pretty much. Well, the bishop's not great. It can shift. It's supporting the center. Yeah, I thought about it probably. I think I did. But let's look at it really quickly. So now we have to either give her she gets this or she gets this. She could get a tempo on the bishop. You can see
Uh,
it's kind of annoying, right?
oh yeah, I didn't notice the tempo on the bishop.
You
That
could do
would
that.
be
Yeah.
annoying.
That's why I may not have done it. It just looks really annoying. Let's say we go back and then she grabs this one.
And I was thinking
And
I'd
then, oh,
have
she's
to.
got this move. She's got a lot of counterplay.
Oh wow.
That's probably why. Yeah. See, should be looking in here. If the bishop was looking in here, bishop tucks back, 93. Yeah, that's why. But either way, she can also probably take a4. But I think she would probably grab that with tempo. See, computer says computer still likes it for white. What? It's the
Yeah.
computer is being very nice to me this game. It's like it keeps whatever happens. Maybe it was best. I don't know. Let me see. No, knight c3 was the best move, according to it. Okay, pawn takes pawn. Oh, Daniel took off. Okay, it's you and me for now. But I know sometimes he has bad connection, so he might come back in. Okay, pawn takes pawn. Have you met him before?
No, this is my first time meeting Daniel.
Okay, Daniel will come. Yeah, he'll come down then whenever he can make it. So it's always great to. Yeah, he's really good. Oh, he's back. Nice. I was just saying how good you are, Daniel. Is your connection?
So,
Was it your connection?
Yeah, my connection.
Oh, okay, I was just telling him that you're very good. And you come, yeah, you come from time to time when you can.
yep, computer says
So
DXE.
yeah, she should do this. It's actually almost same eval. Then I go, oh, interesting. Rook e2. She takes, let's say, why not get that? I get that. She gets that one. I get that one. Okay, she can toss in knight d5. We can double. It's a weird position, but ultimately, look at that miserable bishop. Right? She still has the terrible bishop. Okay, let's say she takes, for example, and queen takes, takes. So we have like this mass exchange. Again, I just don't think I want that though. I wanted to go for a
Yeah,
counterattack. I just don't want that. But it's not bad, but it's one of those positions where like, yeah, I guess it's good for white. But just imagine the bishop. The bishop might get into the game. The bishop might activate. So I don't know. It's tricky. But again, I just wanted to avoid those complications. As you see, it's really just it's fine. It's just complications that I didn't need. Right.
mhm.
Okay, and in a game like this, really what you want to do is avoid counterplay as much as possible. Because again, we have that structural advantage. We have good pieces. And again, really the advantage now is going to be seen on the e-file. That's really critical. One is the
Can you,
bad bishop. Two is the good e-file play. And again, that's your attempt to exploit f4. Because the moment she plays f4, you have your eyes trained on e6 and your support of e5 and removing her support of e4. And there's the bishop e3 check. So everything happens on the e-file, right? It's very interesting. Okay, bishop check, king h1.
I wanted to check another possibility.
You see another possibility?
Yeah, instead of moving f3, you go g3. Yeah, you go g3.
Okay.
The
So
bishop moves to, let's say, yeah, this is. Then right now, you bring your rook maybe to e2. Yeah.
here,
Then let's say
maybe here.
what's okay. Then you play now. You can play f3.
Now f3. Okay. Yeah, as long as you don't worry about sack on g3. I don't think there's a sack on g. Well, your knight is just the knight's doing a great job at defending and attacking. So then
Yeah.
you don't give her the option to, oh, maybe she still plays b5, which is not great, I guess. But knight here,
King g2.
just nice and tight.
Yeah, just the king g2. Then right now, I just feel like this position is much more better to navigate around. Like it's
Yeah.
easy to keep in check and push for a win.
Yeah. This is the way you're talking. This stuff you're talking about is nice positional chess. Seems like you're very positional minded. Yeah, you really developed as a positional player.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, very positional grandmaster style, king up a little bit, right? Tighten things. Yeah, so you could do that for sure. That's another approach. Let's see what the evals. Eval is okay, you've got the computer's approval in +2 about. We can check. I think it actually likes G3, right? Queen up or G3, it likes that. Bishop back. And you said Queen E1, right?
No, yeah, no, Rook E2.
Oh, it wants Queen E1, but Rook E2 also is fine, probably. Yeah, it's still
I
good. Let's say they go here. And then
yeah,
you say, and then F3, the computer also likes it. And
yeah,
then yeah, you
King
say
G3.
example king. Yeah, you don't have to do the right way. It's saying maybe like F. Oh, I don't know that. I wouldn't do F4 now. Oh, it likes this too. Yeah, but you probably will see King G2 also. It's a nice move to
Yeah,
throw in. But that's the,
I'm
these
also,
are just like random. After that, it's like random maneuvers. But like, so you could totally do that too. Nice job. Yeah, it looks like you have the computer's seal of approval as well. But like I said, I also like it. It's very natural. Okay,
yeah,
so in the game, bishop d7. Okay, so we end up having some trades, but as you can see, the end result is very nice. I forget why I didn't go rook e2. I think no, I'm gonna do both. But I think what I want to do is ultimately play f4, and maybe I want my rook backing up that. So again, I'm really thinking about where my pieces need to be to carry out my plans. I'm not just randomly bringing my pieces out. Now, I could probably do that, but I have a clear plan. That's more important. So finally, her plan is to get her bishop out. Okay, now I said, okay, I gave myself, I thought it's fair to say plus over minus at this point, just clear advantage. Because now the smoke has settled, right? Finish our, okay, so now we're well into the middle game, right? We've only traded
yeah,
one piece each. But yeah, so we're definitely in the middle game. And I just think it's, we've established some clear advantages. So but really, like I said, it's all about the E file. That if she had not, let's say she had a pawn on f5 and I have a pawn back here somewhere, then it's a much less clear position. But because of this, there's just so much pressure. And if she ever goes bishop f7, she can't really guard it because the knight's ready to take it and then come through. If the bishop takes, probably the rook, you don't want to block, you take with the rook. And you just have a great, your bishop comes in, and you're going to have a lot of dark square pressure. So her good bishop's gone, her bad bishop remains. So she doesn't want that. Oh, she does take. I guess the knight was very strong though. Oh, right. But now I can't take f7, but still, I don't think I'd be happy with that bishop though. It's just she's in a defensive position now. So she's just trying to, defend the position, and maybe she can fight back if I make a mistake or something later on. So then she goes rook a8. Now, actually, the reason it's a blunder is because I have something cool here. I just totally didn't think about it because I was fixated on this move. I was fixated on going here and then more mechanical, more like kind of just trying to go here and then get h7, right? But there's a cooler move, a much more effective move after rook a8. What do you guys think is the win for white now?
I think it's bishop takes on h7.
You saw it right away, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a puzzle here, and you're like, boom. Even if you didn't know there's a puzzle, you would have found it.
Because I was just thinking about the pin against the knight the whole time, and it's right, and you have a check, and the knight only covers the h7 square. Like the
That would
knight.
be a nice culmination. Yeah. That would be a nice culmination, right? Of like the buildup, just to prove, right? It's like how Lasker said, like the combination lays bare the contradictions of the position, or gets to the truth of the position or something. So you have an advantage. So clearly we've established an edge. The only thing I don't like is, but see, I was playing positionally. Bishop d2, let's improve our bishop. Let's come here. I just didn't think about it. I think I was in time pressure too, not to excuse it, but yeah, I just wasn't thinking about it, But yeah, certainly I started positionally, but there is a time when you have to shift to those tactics, and it's there. Tactics flow from a superior position. You get that position, you lock in. Like I said, we've just locked in the advantage. Now it's time for tactics.
right here. Yeah,
Right?
what the continue?
Yeah, that's the winning position. Interestingly,
Yeah,
like you don't actually have a mate yet, but it's just a free H bond. It's just a free, like you can shift. The bishop check doesn't really do anything yet. You can drop your bishop back check. I mean, the attack is just overwhelming. Yeah, it's the computer suggests 94. Like, okay, I'll take that. Right. But like, yeah, it's just a very hard position to defend. What's the threat? Is it Queen H6? And then if the bishop moves, you can no, what do you do? What is the threat? Because the computer suggests coughing up the knight. But what if we don't have to do that? I mean, G7 and H7, we have two focal points. How do they defend both?
I think the threat might just even be like take maybe sack the rook on G7, king takes. I was gonna queen G5. If the king moves, you get the knight, but you can block with the bishop. That's
No, you take though. You can
oh
still
yeah, you
take.
can still take with the
But
bishop.
then they
Yes.
cover laterally. Yeah, that's got to be good. Okay, let's say they do like a random move. Also, there's this stuff going on too. But there might be something there. But yeah, let's just say you take. Now it's either bishop or queen. Might be bishop H6 sometimes too. Bishop H6. Oh yeah, that's the kill. That's the kill because you bring in your bishop. And then what is she supposed to do? Because you have queen check now.
Mm.
Yeah, the focal point. Your move is probably good, but the other one, I think this is mate though.
I think bishop, yeah, H6 is
Because you have this cool thing where you know, that stuff. Well, does it mate or you just win a free rook? No, but now we made this way. Yeah, it's just mating. How about king back? No, now we have the queen check. It's actually no, it's gonna be mate now. It's not mate, but it's very destructive. Yeah, it's not. Wait, did I miss it? Was there? Oh, I mean, you're just winning too much material, but you have two pawns, and you take the rook. You don't even need the rook. But there must have been something better. Was there something better? Oh, let's look at your move. Check here. Did you say take?
I said takes on on F6, but
So that's kind of maybe similar. Let me see. Yeah, you're not even again. You're not even down exchange. It's actually similar, but now you've kept the bishop. I mean, that's good. That's clearly good. But I wonder about including the bishop. Oh, like I said though, you could do this. You can check. Okay, so we're just up two clean pawns. I mean, you could do whatever you want here. You know, you have so many wins. I mean, you could just go here. That looks really strong.
yeah.
And then you just come back. And then you can play F4 and game over when your rook comes. Anyway, it's all winning. I'm just curious. Let's see what the computer says the best line is. Curious about that. So it suggests rook G5. Okay, let's say like I said, let's just say this move, for example. Yeah, correct. Rook sack. It even says bishop F4. Probably bishop F4 E5 is very strong. So check. Of course, we'll take that though. Yeah, bishop check. So queen G5, bishop blocks again. So it says take first. Either check and take the bishop or you take this. Well, yeah, let's leave the bishop on it. Let's not take the bishop. Let's take the knight instead, right? Okay, now we swing back and check. King runs. Okay, now we have two bishops for a rook. And we're winning. Two bishops and two pawns for. No, is it three pawns? No, two pawns. So it's 8 for 5. Animating attack. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a win. So anyway, there are multiple ways to win that, but I totally missed that. So anyway, it's still good, but I could have had better. So ultimately, so I play F4. Why not? I just did a rook lift. Why not? And then I found F5. Yeah. I think the idea was to, what was the idea? I think the idea is to reach F6, right? But obviously there's the rook lift this way. No, the other idea is just to be able to take back with the pawn. So I could leave my bishop. I think I'm trying to figure out what exactly I was doing. So I did this move. I think the idea is to stop rook E8 and just clutter stuff. But yeah, she can't, it's kind of a near Zugzwang scenario, right? So I just build. Watch out for the back. No one's coming to the back rank yet, but I had to worry about that later. Okay, so now we're threatening to take the knight, so she goes back. Well, okay, actually, this just wins. Well, you have to do a little bit of calculation now to make sure. This is more like restricting counterplay kind of calculation. So it's a winning position. Okay, what's the best way to play this? Gave you maybe a slim in, you might have seen a little bit. What do you guys think?
Bishop captures.
So bishop takes. Okay, what are they gonna do?
I feel like
They
the
have
best move for them is take your pawn with your queen.
And they
Because
actually have, wait. Oh, interestingly, they don't have, no, it's tricky. It's actually very tricky. Let's think about this. So if you take it, okay,
okay.
you have two
Take with the
candidates, this one or this one,
take with
right?
take with the rook.
Yeah, exactly. Given that we know that there's complications there, let's see, it still wins. It says like +3 something or +4 2 or whatever. So it's better. Yeah, it's better because you don't let her take this way. So no, she does take this way. She does still, but it's not as good. It's a little easier now. Okay, what happens after queen g6? So queen takes g6, very sneaky. I mean, again, like I said, there are back rank mate problems, but obviously when I take the knight, I'm seeing that it's okay. But you have to calculate queen g6. So queen takes g6, what do you do? How do you make sure it works? Doesn't have to be anything too fancy. You've already won your piece, but just make sure you don't let them mate you. So what do you do?
Pawn h6.
What's that?
h6.
Oh, I'm saying after queen takes. So
Okay.
calculate this in your head. So you're thinking about, well, really you have to calculate from here to make sure. So you have to know that she has queen takes g, unless you get lucky. But unless I got lucky and it just worked out for me. But you should know when you do this that they have this. So after queen takes g6, what do you do? Just have to make sure they don't have any back rank mates, basically, and you keep your piece. What do you think?
we're still up a piece. So I'm just thinking like just take on f8 with your rook after rook takes back. I feel like you could even it's safe to just retreat your rook to e1.
Yeah, that's what I did. I just took, because you can't, otherwise the rook just hangs. So you may as well deal with the hanging rook. I guess you have h3, either this or h3. But no, there's no need. There's no need. Because you're not going to get anything on the back rank yet. So don't give her something on the back rank. And then just prophylactic h3. Just don't give them anything. And the thing is, like, if they want to go rook here, you probably have oh, you could just take this. I was thinking you can go here, but then the rook, because the rook can't take, you have a mate, but you can also just snatch the pawn and then check, you just come up. And you can easily cover the diagonal, so there's no more checks. Unless you want to trade queens, which is fine. And then you would make them on e8. So yeah. So you would just take here. They have to go back anyway. You go up, she takes. Then you can you can shift now. No, you could give her some pawns, that doesn't matter. And then you have too much force around the king's side and you've killed any attack. You're just gonna overwhelm. You can go like just come in to go after g7 somehow. Okay, so she takes a pawn. Take that. Yeah, everything's mobilized now. I figure why not? Let's just do the same thing. Okay, so she goes here. I come here. But covering the diagonal makes sense. h6. And then I apparently misplayed it. What am I supposed to play? Oh, you can actually just sack it. That's how strong it is. I mean, yeah, whatever works here. What would it be? It would be like, let me see, out of curiosity, what would it be? Oh, just check. Is it just mating? Yeah, it's just mating. So yeah, that works. I played a little more like, I guess, mechanically or something rather than quick dynamics sometimes. So b4, king up, prophylactic move, queen down. So she's going all in with this. I mean, she's got to try. Going for mate. Okay, bishop e5 is coming. So we basically just trade. Now I went for the trades. Apparently it's not the most accurate, but I figured, hey, if it works, it works. Because the interesting thing about this position is that it looks scary, but theoretically, the bishop holds off 2 pawns. Now the rook, do you guys know the theory about two pawns winning against a rook? Two pawns on the third or sixth rank winning against a rook?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
In
let
I'm
them
not
get there. What's that?
I'm not too familiar with that theory. Two pawns going against winning against the rook.
Yeah.
I'm
Now you'll see against the bishop. I think on the bishop, it's the same thing actually. If they're here, the bishop will stop them. Looks like yes, they will stop them. But once they get here, it would also get the rook, the bishop. So if you have like this, let's say I had a rook down here, you just push one, and then you can't stop the other one from coming. Like let's say you're here, you push one, the rook goes behind, you push the other one.
yes.
Yeah, if they're here, yeah, you can't stop them. If you push one, the rook is here, let's say, or whatever, it can't take because you get a queen. So yeah, that'll stop it. Now, same thing I think here. So you can see with them like this, the bishop could yeah, the bishop could just go here. If you push this one, the bishop's already covering. Just imagine theoretically. If you push this one, the bishop just doesn't do anything. Because if this pushes, you take. And when it's here, wait, no, when they're here. So if you go here, so if this one pushes, you just don't do anything. Because if they push again, you just go here and you blockade the two. Now that's a bishop a showdown between a bishop and two pawns. Obviously, the question is the king. So I went g4. No, it's still good, but I should have, and I mean, again, I'm pretty sure I was in extreme time pressure by this point, but there was a lot going on, right? A lot of complexity that we had to think about, but probably just bring the king over. Well, here's actually the computer line to win. You'll just get a sense. Just improve the king. But here's the problem. Like, they can't get their king. It will take forever to bring the king here. You're already going to take this and get a queen. So that's all you got to do. But you could win over here because you have tempos. So imagine, let's forget about everything here. Let's say we have two pawns and king versus two pawns and king. Because we have a tempo, we win. We also have good placement. G5 won't work either. G5, you just come over to the other side because then they seal everything. See, G5 check, you just run this way, and also then you can eat these pawns, and also if you get the chance, you'll take that later. So but you see an example like this, you force the tempo where you get this in, so you get to win a tempo there, because otherwise, like, if you go up, they go around here. If you go check, normally this would be bad, because if we check up, no, well, it depends on the position. Check up, king. Yes, you'd have to abandon the G pawn. So that would, but the fact that you have the bishop, it's all about the tempo. See,
check. You can actually check.
You do what?
I say you can actually check like G6.
G6. Yeah.
Like
In this position.
Yeah, it works. G6.
Yeah, because
Bishop.
you have the wait, because you have you have the waiting move.
Yeah, bishop b2.
Yeah. Now, if you didn't have that, if it were black's, if it were white's move and there were no waiting move, let's forget about all this. Then it would be bad because then then black wins. Black takes and pushes. But because you have all you need the bishop for, well, two things. One is to stop the pawns, and two is for waiting moves. Yeah, if you didn't have all that, you would just have to wrap your king this way. I'm not sure if that would win though. You have to make sure so anyway, I wasn't totally accurate. I should have just done that in hindsight. But anyway, no, I brought my king over. It was fine. Well, then she does this to try to like trap, because I guess she knows it's already lost. But no, the one move though, I was supposed to go here. That's pretty straightforward. Again, look, so you induce this push, then you come here. This push, you have time to take. That's fine. So yeah, that was more accurate. But anyway, I made one inaccuracy there. But then I just take the pawn. Okay, I'm not going to give it to her, obviously. I'm not going to give her the bishop. Just go back. Then it's over. Then she resigns. Yeah, because she's not coming in here. This is sealed off. I'm coming this way. And the king will, all you need to do, even if she gets here, hypothetically, all you need to do is let the king stop them, and the bishop just takes the game. Or you just shove the pawn, takes, and just push. Then you just need to stop that one. But anyway, yeah, there are many ways to win at that point. But obviously, I mean, the whole extra piece should be good. But you do have to be, it was a little messy, because the thing is, all she had there, her hope that, well, any tricks here, which didn't work, then her main hope there is to take the A and B pawns and try to win on the queen side. So we still have the result of that, where I played on the king side, it yielded me a piece, but I didn't have any immediate threats after I won the piece. I had to defend for a couple moves, and that gave her time to win some pawns. So yeah, that was the result, bishop versus the two pawns. But fortunately, I ended up winning still. but computer says no, there's no need. There's no need to trade. Just stay in the middle game, saying like, let's say you check, rook back. Okay, what are we doing with this? What are we doing? Rook check. Okay, what are we gonna do here? Wait, well, it wants
Yeah.
to. I don't know. Is it strong enough? This? I don't know. I think this is. Well, you have the diagonal covered. I don't think I even, like I said, if I think I have the win, I'm gonna trade the pieces. So, all right, you want me to show you quickly the loss from the Southern California Championship? You guys have a minute or a few minutes?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, my opponent just, so I had beaten him at this, like I mentioned earlier, yeah, I beat him at the senior center in Pasadena. This was, where was this played? Forget where it was. I don't know, it was like in the valley of LA. Forget where it was, somewhere in LA County, I think. But yeah, so we have Southern California State Federation and Northern California Federation. So it's split into two states. I'm not sure of any other states. I think just California. It's also such a long state too. So geographic, it's population wise. I was gonna say politically. I'm not sure. There's a little split there. But that's more inland. So demographically, yeah, in terms of population, but also in terms of distance, it just makes more sense to have two federations. So yeah, okay. So I played him like at least the second time. This time he got me pretty good. So he has, I have white. Okay. Well, look at it from black. Just look at his demonstrations. Very nice. So he has black. We have symmetrical English. So I used to like to do this. Nowadays, I like E3 better. You know, like E3, D3, or even D4. But again, just like in the previous game, we have the weakness. In the previous game, it was F5, D5, right? E5 weakness. Now it's C4, E4 with the D4 weakness. So that's going to be very important. Sometimes it doesn't matter, but it does often come back to bite you if black plays really well. So let's see, what's the stat? The stat is they're okay. I guess that you're supposed to play A4 and white scores a bit better. Yeah, but I don't love this variation. But yeah, white does a bit better in practice. But still, there are some moves all of a sudden. I mean, this is pretty close, 33-26. There are some moves where black is doing very well, like H3. So anyway, so he plays nice. So he plays the top move. So I go F4. And again, as you see, about even. So A4 really just stop his B5 idea. You do weaken B4 all. It's not that palatable because you weaken B4, but like the knight wants to be here on D4, not B4. So it's okay. So I go F4. 97. Should be 3. So we're following some games here. 94. So now we only have wins and 2 wins and a draw for black. So black's doing well here. That okay. We do 2 B5. Now he gets his B5 in, so common. I'm going all out of my king side attack. B4. 91. This is really where he's getting something. Very nice play. So I just probably underestimated this. It's just like little things he's accumulating. Now, interestingly, he's not afraid of this at all. There's nothing here yet. So he doesn't overreact to the king side. If he plays like E5, you probably just bypass with F5, right? So there's nothing really he can do. Maybe E6, but it's not necessary. So he just ignores me, realizing I'm not threatening anything anytime soon. So by going B3, what's he achieving here? Why is this such a good move?
Yeah,
I
your
feel like
opponent can play capture.
What's that?
Your opponents can't capture. They have to play A3.
Right, and I'm
Yeah.
playing white here. I'm playing white here. But I'm just
Okay.
showing you how, like, just to see a nice demo from his side. Yeah, pretty much. I actually ended up taking it because I was concerned about it. But really, what are you going to do? He's threatening knight's sort of a threat. It's uncomfortable, knight C2. If you take, he forks. What is the best move? I mean, So the best move is just like
Looks like
A3 or just tuck it back. So there's no fork. What if he takes? Oh yeah, well, that's the point. Yeah, you go back. That's okay. Yeah, I kind of like B4 that you could take. It's okay, but yeah, maybe even. So I took it. Well, I took it first with the bishop. But as you can see now I have a lot of weaknesses on the dark squares. This is still pretty good in here. So now I close it. And now he's got these two pawns embedded in my territory. I guess my thinking was it didn't look that bad. I mean, my thinking was I was hoping to maybe create targets with make those pawns into targets. I'm relatively solid. He does, but look, I am weak behind this. You have to get in. It's not easy to get in, but I do have a lot of targets in there for him to more squares for him to reach. And he does. So that's a nice move. I like his knight there on C5 for him. But then I go here. It's like, but optically, if you look at white's position, I don't think it looks that bad for white. I mean, obviously he's got something. I mean, that's his advantage here. You gotta watch out for D3, but still, like, there obviously my hope was to attack him here, right? If you give me one move, like some G5 and knight, like I could maybe do something. So even though he's doing very well on the queen side, it's debatable about the center because it does block his bishop, but it squeezes me. But I do have mobility here. So like I could imagine that, and I can imagine a scenario where white can attack. But as I said, it's not there yet. You know, there aren't many. The fangs are not that dangerous here for white. You know, black has a lot of resources, and he does. So actually, he should have played E5 right away. Maybe he gave me one move. So he finds E5 on the next move. So I go rook A, or he finds then two moves. Bishop B7. So he finishes development. Then he goes E5. It's a really good move. So yeah, he could have done it right away. But when he doesn't do it, I think that's where I should actually, where was it? Instead of this move, now I should go G5. So it takes the sting out. Let's see. He still has E5. What would I do? You can bypass as a sack, maybe. Let's say you go here. I mean, it's good for black, but I still think at least you can stir up complications. But you can see, though, for black, like, white's attack is going nowhere. And now it's black's turn to counterattack, right? They can just punch back. And they have good space advantage. The bishops can come to life. They have that embedded pawn, pressure on D3, beautifully placed knight on C5. It's like kind of a Benoni thing going on with the B5 and the knight C5. So it's kind of like a dream Benoni position almost, some hybrid. A little bit of King's Indian stuff going on too for black, right? So you got some of this hybrid going on. So rook at E1, bishop B7. So there you have E5. And now you can see why is this such a strong move, you think? Why is this so, again, like to the untrained eye, it doesn't look that bad for white, right? But when you look at it a little more, well, that bishop, again, the bishop's bad. So is theirs. They might get it out later. But why is this really good for black after F5?
I feel like it gives
I,
black can create some initiative like really quickly on the king side, on white's king side. Like the first move right away would be I'm thinking would be queen H4 attacking the knight on G3 and knight moves, or maybe the other knight protects, because the queen can't protect. Like the best way to protect it I see right now would probably be like maybe king H2. And after king H2, you play bishop H6,
Yeah,
attacking
exactly.
the
Exactly. And
queen.
they both come with tempo. So suddenly all of a sudden you have a queen in here and a bishop coming in. And that doesn't look too pretty. Right. It's actually really difficult to defend that, isn't it? You have to retreat somewhere awkward. I went like that. Yeah, I did this. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's really
I,
awkward.
yeah, I was thinking about that move too. I was like, that would be really awkward too, as well. Like,
Yeah, there's
because
just you're just seeing the dark square control. He still and he does have, actually maybe I moved the wrong knight because now I have to worry about the D3 pawn more. You might have that in the future. That's far off. Like in an end game, you might have some. Who knows? You might have some sack or something. You know, you might have some cool stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure on D3. So he's combining this and this and this. So dark square play, diagonals, pressure on D3, maybe future pressure on other places like bishop stuff. And then in the meantime, I'm shut down. Again, this is a good bishop. It's blocked by the pawn, but it's technically still a good bishop on D7. Now, this is his quote bad bishop, but with tempo, it activates. And there are really problems, as you said, with King H2, then I might even lose the knight. No, I'd have to go knight here as well. But it would be bad. So he gets tempo there. Now you're probably seeing big advantage black. We're seeing -2. Yeah, so that's clear advantage black. Getting close to win, right? So now I would say I'd say as you approach -3, you're getting like a win, right? -2 is like, I guess I'd call it big advantage, right? Because it could be, let's say this position, -2. I mean, what if black goes wrong with the attack? Then white can strike back, you know, so a lot can still happen. Now in the computer's eyes, well, black's not going to go wrong. So yeah, so it's going to keep building. So knight f(h1), very hard position. Bishop h6, there you go. Now we've solved the bad bishop problem. Queen e2. Now that's interesting. Queen, I wouldn't have thought of queen. No, it's interesting. He's actually going for a queen trade, an effective queen trade. Someone got to run. Oh, he's got to head out. All right, Daniel, good having you. I'm pretty much wrapping up anyway. Good seeing you, Daniel. Hopefully you'll make it out next Monday or whenever you can.
Take care, Daniel.
See ya. Good luck with everything. Yeah, so I think what he's doing is he's going for, well, he has a few things. I think he's sensing how good the end game is for him too. He's not afraid of the end game. I think also, if you think about it, he's only doing so much right now. He doesn't have a mate or something. He only has these two and the pressure on D3. So there's not, it's tricky. Like I said, I mean, it's big advantage, but it's not over yet. If he goes wrong, I mean, I don't have anything myself. All I've got, who knows, maybe like some trades on the F file. But even so, I still have this awful bishop. I don't get to play H4, bishop H3 or something. It's just a miserable position, right? It's very difficult. But yeah, mostly because, well, again, we're seeing a lot of this stuff with pawns on one color, blocking a bishop and opening up weak squares. Same as last game, right? You're just seeing it on different openings. You're seeing different color squares being under control, different parts of the center and beyond. Queen g5. So my question, I'm thinking, is anything going to happen on the F file, right? Because really the play now is about the diagonal, definitely the D3 pawn though. Probably that was a mistake. Let me see check real quick. Was it better to move the other knight or something else? No, it was apparently the best move. I mean, I didn't see anything better. King h2, second best. They're all about the same. Anyway. Bishop h6, queen e2, g5, rook b1. So yeah, then I started playing weird, but I was probably explained by extreme time pressure because I made some really weird moves. But the other thing is, when you're under pressure, when you're under positional pressure, you might get into time pressure, and you might be induced to blunder because of both types of pressure. And then that's where I did start blundering. I think just couldn't. Really hard to hold on. I was kind of shuffling. I guess I was like, okay, check, fine. Oh, but then I'm like, I can't take it because you take with check, knight blocks. So that's the winning move right there. He just wins the pawn. Oh wait, did I just blunder my knight? Yeah. I'm down a knight, and now he's forcing a queen trade. Game. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
no, it's just locked. Now it's locked. Oh, that's brutal. It takes. Thanks. That's brutal. Wait,
so he
actually sacks his knight back. Pseudo sack. What's that?
I'm just saying, I'm just like, this is so many pins in this position. The knight and bishop are pinned. That's
dirty.
It's completely crushing.
Yeah, no, he that's what I said. Like, he played it really well. I mean, I think let me look at his accuracy. It was probably really high. But he found all the right moves basically. So, and then I was just, it's the kind of thing where like, it didn't look like it was that bad. I was like, okay, it's not great. But then he found e5. I'm like, oh, this isn't going my way. And then he gets and then suddenly he has But I think his queen g5, that was that his best move? I think so. It was really strong. It wasn't apparently. It says bishop check first, but I think it was, let's see. Yeah, the eval's irrelevant. I mean, it's almost 2 in any case, about -2. But I think that was a very good idea. I wouldn't have, I also didn't think of it. I mean, yeah, this is more natural probably, but I wouldn't think of it. But I think he realized that the queen trade was very strong, especially after this move. That move didn't do anything. But again, what do I have? It's just a
Like
bind.
maybe
It reminds me of the last
what
game. It reminds me of the
what
last game.
what would happen if rook d1 instead of the rook
Right.
b1 move?
If you go to the
Like
better,
the
if you go to a better place. Okay, let's say checks. Yeah, this is much. Yeah, again, like this is the kind of thing where it doesn't look pleasant, but does he have anything? Takes? I don't think takes. No, takes is probably good for white. See, that's where you start seeing white get. I mean, white could even do this, and then trade bishops, and maybe there's equality there. That's it still likes black by a point, better than before. But like I said, take with a knight. Yeah, take with a knight's at least even. White's fine, right? So you can see that. So is your move the best? Probably. Let's see. Rook f3, bishop f3. How about your move? Still queen check. Okay, what's the deal with knight? Oh, I said no. I mean this one here. So let's say he had done this. Yeah, the advantage is going down a bit. It's more of a, let's say it's more of a playable game. What does he have though?
Yeah.
Oh, this position is just so strong because now this is really benefiting him. The squeeze of the fixed pawns. Okay, now I go here, but now no one's hitting d3. Okay, fine. You go back. I go back. You go back. Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing here? Okay, bishop. I don't know
bishop.
why. I don't understand bishop g5. Do you? I wouldn't think of that move.
I guess maybe to stop h4, stop your
Oh,
opponents from
oh,
pushing.
okay. I might think of it in that case, yeah. But what else do we have? Okay, so like this move, now it is saying h4. But then you're starting to see the liberation of the piece. I mean, oh, that's the knight c3 idea. Okay, fine. I'm not taking it. Okay, we go here. We don't want to let the 2 pawns come in. I don't know. I think it's not comfortable, but it's playable. Oh wait, now are we losing the exchange eventually? Like, no, I mean I think black is gonna have to play extremely well,
Yeah,
to get in. I think the point is you can put up resistance with your move. Yeah. But I think I just collapsed with rook b1. I just missed. No, I probably figured, I was like, oh yeah, I got knight f2. I'm covering. Oh wait, no, I can't cover anymore. Because he has well, he could have even he has to. Oh, I know, I dropped this. I just dropped it. Failed for many reasons. But I know, but here's the thing. I was lost. Like I already saw it was one of those scenarios where I probably was looking like, oh, that loses, oh crap. Then I just made a blunder. That happens sometimes. So anyway, but that's the thing. I mean, he just played really well. I gotta give it to him. We'll check the accuracy real quick, but he played a very good game. And then he found the crush. So he said, well, he's already up a piece. So he coughs up a piece. He sacks it back, but it's not really a sack because now everything's falling. Yeah, all I have is like this. What do you have now? I mean, what's the deal here? Oh, because this is pinned. Take with check. You can take the rook with check. Okay, you're up a rook. Yeah, that's vicious. You can bring the other.
Wow.
Yeah, I would think about doing that. Maybe yeah, you can bring the other rook into play too. That's good. And this. So game over. Let's see. I'm pretty sure he had very high. Let's check real quick. Pretty sure his accuracy was like really good. So anyway, that was the one that I had as the loss, I think. And the one against I'll show you really quickly just this position. What happened was I was doing really well here. I was squeezing him, right? Yeah, very comfortable position. But then I underestimated g5. So I should have played h4 on multiple occasions. So this was just a bad move. You know what? Again, I missed a tactic. I think and then I realized, oh, you can't take because he has a check. So everything's in the wrong place. And then that's where he's able to suddenly, I missed that. I'm like, oh no, now he has h6, g5. And then he's going to get tempo in g4. So I ended up losing a piece. I think he didn't need queen b7. He should have done it right away. Oh yeah, and now there, and you can't stop it. Yeah, you can't move the king away. It's just So anyway, that was that game. But it was going pretty well until then. Anyway, let's check real quick. Is it showing? Yeah, he had a nice clean. Whenever you see a smooth slope like that, you know that I play is very accurate. So yeah, oh, you can't see it here. Yeah, so I had 88, not terrible, but he had 94. So two
Mm.
inaccuracies, that's it. That's dumb. I mean, obviously I had blunders. Come on. I don't know why
No
I'm saying I had like
blunders.
no, it was like it was already a -3 or something. So I was like, oh, is it -3 or -5? But then it became -9. So no, I definitely blundered at least once or twice. And at any rate, yeah, at that point, well, really it goes from here. This is clearly the worst part. Um, yeah, it goes from that was a blunder. But again, yeah, because -2 is not over. This if it's -3.5, that, and I agree, that's really hard to me. But of course, computer's kind of weird. But generally speaking, a lot of people think about it. I don't think that plus or -2 is over. The computer might think it's pretty close to it. It's like 2 pawns worth. But as you can see, there are a lot of those cases where it says +2, even more than that. But somebody makes an inaccuracy, oh, back to +1 or 0 or whatever, or swings. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful, Malcolm.
Oh, it was really helpful. It was it was interesting to hear your the strategies you used during the middle games, and seeing how, like, especially that last game, how your opponent like kept creeping, like, I guess, like trying to control a lot of squares and just keeping themselves in a good, like, keeping their pieces in good positions. And it seems like things will eventually work out if you keep your pieces in good positions and cramping up your opponent. Because
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
a lot of times in my games, I guess recently, I feel like I haven't been playing too positional. I sometimes get aggressive too quickly before and aggressive when my pieces aren't in the right squares.
Right. You prematurely attack. I'd recommend Art of Attack and Chess. Have you read it?
Harder of attack. I haven't read that, but I
Speaking of Malik, I think Malik may have read it. I think
harder of
check
attack.
with him. I think he might have it. But yeah, it was a while ago. But yeah, this is a few years ago. But anyway, that has a chapter on preconditions for attack. And also, so if
Mhm.
someone doesn't have the right preconditions, then they get punched. Like I went for G4. That's the thing. I was trying to crush him. I was going. Now it worked in one of the IM win of this 2 IM wins. One of those I was able to do that. I went F4, G4. Then I ended up winning in somewhere else. But it worked. Now here it wasn't super risky. Often it works me on bishop on G2, but still, because it covers like a
Mhm.
pawn, but still you're overextending arguably. And then he punished it with E5. He really punished that move. And
Mhm.
then he had the embedded pawn. But again, it was kind of cool for him because it began with B3, kind of made me nervous. So I took on D4, right? And then his pawn gets there. Then I play A3, and then suddenly he has the B pawn embedded, the E pawn embedded, and then because I'm pushing over on the other side, which is my only chance to do, my only place I could do something on the king side, then he goes E5 and embeds pieces over there. And then he finds again
Mhm.
whether or not it's the best, it didn't matter. It was still good. He went Queen G5, then he embeds his queen and then the bishop,
Mhm.
and well, all he needed was the bishop on E3, and ultimately that's what led, or the queen on E3, and then I hung a piece, right? But then that's what led to the knight invasion. So it's like it really had a cascade effect. The mix of the B pawn, the D pawn, and
Mhm.
the darks. Well, first it was 2 diagonals, right? Getting to H4, D8, H4, and then F8 gets to H6, and then H6 into C1. So he's slicing and dicing, right? But the diagonals there, in conjunction with the weak pawns, in conjunction with my exposed king on the dark square. So he had that dark square play, but he had to punch the holes in order to enable the bishop to come out of the pawn chain to come in. And yeah, as you
Mhm.
were saying, but you just have these accumulation of like good factors, including really good pieces based on good pawn structure corresponding, right? Pawn
Mhm.
structure that corresponds. It's kind of like bones and muscles, right? So you got your skeleton, you got the muscle, everything works together as a whole, right? Anyway, yeah. So nice analysis. Thanks for that. I'll stop it there.